Hey everyone, I'm doing a video on how to make an axe using no power tools, so it's going to be a post-apocalyptic axe blacksmithing video. I was inspired to do this by the post-apocalyptic garage. I watched this axe video and yeah, I think he needs some blacksmithing help. So I thought, you know what, I could do a video showing how I would do it. So I'm going to be using no power tools, just I'll get a medieval on this, pretty much. Now, the first mistake he made was in choice of materials. You want something that you can harden. So what I'm starting off with is a piece of spring steel, because it's a carbon steel. It can be hardened and heat treated, and you can harden and temper it. It will take an edge. It will not be as hard as high carbon steel, but it will be more durable, hopefully. So what this is off of a leaf spring assembly. There's often a top one which is extra thick. Right, the other leaf springs off of this assembly were about 8mm thick, whereas this is probably, at the middle it's probably like twice as thick as that. So we're going to be starting off with a material as close to the end result as possible. The plan is we're going to cut it down through here, off, on this side of the eye, because that's the smaller side, and we're going to squeeze that down to make it wider. Then we're going to hot punch it, cut it off so it's not too long, bevel it, heat treat it, and we'll have a post-apocalyptic DIY axe made from a rather common material. In a post-apocalyptic environment, there's probably going to be leaf springs from cars, which will be a pretty common source of carbon steel that is able to be heat treated sufficiently to make decent blades. You'll look at parts of the developing world where they recycle a lot of materials. When they're making machetes and other tools that need to take an edge, a lot of times the material that they're recycling for steel are leaf springs of one type or another. So yeah, if you just look up machetes being blacksmithed in Asia, a lot of times it's leaf springs. So for the post-apocalyptic theme of this blacksmithing, making it out of a leaf spring is very appropriate. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to heat this up red hot, and we're going to have a cut-off chisel. We're going to have a cut-off tool on the anvil. Now we'll put it over the cut-off tool, then we'll hammer down onto it. Well, I'll be showing you how to cut these without modern grinders, because no power tools, because we're not using power tools on this. So yeah. Alternatively, you could just heat this up, put it on a piece of sacrificial steel, such as mild, just a piece of sacrificial mild steel, and hot chisel it. I'm going to use the cut-off tool. Okay. Get soon. Right, so I've cut off the piece of steel from the leaf spring. Now what I plan on doing is I just want to squeeze that down so it's thicker in that dimension, so that it'll be a bit easier to drive a chisel through it to basically we're going to drift a hole. Just going to get it nice and hot, hammer it down that way. Luckily, because this is a leaf spring, it's got these little things attached to it, so those are going to be quite useful. So I can grip it like this as opposed to at 90 degrees to it. It'll just give me more control. That wasn't planned, that was just lucky. And there we have it, for now. Bevel it, straighten it up, heat treat it. Plenty of work to go still. So, I want to start a curve here, but I'm thinking of keeping the top more in line, so it'll only be kind of saddled or curved in on the bottom for a beard. I was originally thinking of using the blacksmith guillotine, but that would make it very even on both sides. So because I want to curve the bottom of it more than the top, I've decided I should be using the horn of the anvil. So the plan is to get the axe nice and hot and to drive it down onto the horn of the anvil. That way the curvature of the horn is transferred to the bottom of the axe head, and because the hammer is broad and flat, it will not deform the top of the material as much as the bottom, and it'll give it a nice curve on the bottom. Well, that's getting a bit too thick, so I might put it in the guillotine and squeeze it out that way a bit. Now I'm going to bevel and flatten out the blade towards the edge to put a taper on it, hold it over the edge of the anvil at an angle, and well, you hammer at an angle, and the angle between the anvil and your hammer creates the bevel. The reason why we bevel this way as opposed to grinding is because, well, without power tools, that would be a lot more work grinding away material than it is to just heat it up and hammer it. Right, so now I'm just going to be thinning out the blade and drawing that bevel out. Because if it was just a sharp, wedge down near the tip, it wouldn't be very good as an axe. So make it a more gradual taper, and of course thin out the blade, because a thinner blade penetrates more easily.
You get your bent ones like that. Yeah. You hold it through the eye.
Ah. Alright, now I have bent tongs so I can hold it through the eye, which is a great tip. Thank you, Paul. Now just true it up with files. Put it and get it ready for hardening. But an important note is I'm going to let this cool down slowly so that the steel will be softer and easier to file. I just want to let it just cool down and not quench it. So now I need to get this ready for hardening and tempering in my heat treating process. First I'm going to bevel the blade and I'm going to give it a slightly fat edge, just because if you've got a fine edge on something when you go to quench it, it can increase the chances of it breaking in heat treat. They call it a stress riser. There's a point where it can focus stress on the blade and cause it to crack or snap during heat treatment. So be slightly rounded at the edge. What I really should have for this is a bench and some kind of vise or clamp to hold it down, so that I can just file it level. But I don't know if there's any around here I can use, and mine are at home. There's some over there, but I think they belong with another blacksmith, so I'm going to use it without asking. So I think I'll probably just pop it in a post vise and file it. It's not really rocket science. You should be able to figure it out. Just, you know, don't cut yourself. If you're going towards the blade, especially once it gets sharp, don't ram your knuckles into it. But because this is annealed steel, it's not hardened, it's not tempered, it's in its annealed state, it will file a lot faster than if I had hardened it and then tried to file it. So yeah, so I want to get it close to the finished shape before I harden it. Saves me less work in the long run. Now for this you want a nice sharp bastard file. And so you want to make sure your file's clean and isn't dull. And of course you only file in the one direction, because if you go back the other way, I think you can round over the teeth. Yeah, just gonna do lots of this, but you can I can just see the steel coming off already. So, shouldn't take too long. Bring you back when it's done. Alright, so I've filed the bevels onto it, but I've rolled just the edge and smoothed it over a little, because we don't want it to be sharp when we're hardening it for the quench. So what I need to do now is I'm going to heat just the end up to the critical temperature, which I'm going to be judging by colour. It's going to be a nice red colour, but you can also tell because it should no longer be magnetic at that temperature. So you want just a little bit higher than when it loses its magnetism for a lot of steels. So I guess at that point I'm going to dunk it into the oil, just the end, and move it around, because we don't want it to just have a sudden point at which it is quenched. If there's an area where it's only partially quenched and we keep it moving up and down a bit, I'm told that puts less stress on it during the heat treat, or something like that. So I'll set it up, heat it up, and put it in the oil. That's a bit warm. Alright, so I've gone and I've hardened the accent. You can tell with the file if it's hardened. If it's hardened, the file should skate over it, which it does. Which it does. And you can even hear the difference in the noise it makes when it skates over. Not only does it not bite in anymore, but hard, soft. Now what I need to do is I need to polish this back so I can see exposed steel, so it's a bit shiny, and then I'm going to run the colours through it to temper it. So the idea is we're going to put the back of the axe back into the coals, and as it heats up the rest of the blade, as it heats up the rest of the axe head, colours will start running along it, like if you've ever seen the exhaust of a motorbike, how it gets those colours running along it as it heats up. Well, that's going to happen. Or if you've ever seen just steel change colour as it goes through a straw and purple and blue. So what we're doing is we're going to heat this up, and we're going to let those colours move up the blade until the edge of the axe head is a kind of a dark straw colour is what we're aiming for, and that will temper the blade so it will no longer be quite as hard, but it won't be as brittle either. Now I've got the axe head in the fire. There is a fire going underneath that, all that black charcoal. I've got it polished up, and I've got a nice angle of light so I can see the colour of the steel right at the edge. It's nice and shiny, and I'm just going to give it some heat until that starts to turn a straw colour, kind of a yellowy brown. This could take a while, so I will bring you back. I'm gonna cut here, and when it's done, when it gets up to temperature, I'm going to go quickly put it into water so that it doesn't continue to heat up any further, and of course I'll show you what colour it turns when I quench it. Not sure how well you can see that colour on this camera. It's sort of a dark yellow or a dark straw colour. Or if yours runs a little bit into the blue, that's not the end of the world, just means it'll be a little bit softer. But yeah, that's exactly the colour we're looking for. It's a nice dark yellow or a dark straw colour. So now all there is to do is sharpen it up and put a handle on it, and we will have a functional post-apocalyptic survival axe. Who knows, maybe one day I'll convert it into a Viking axe. Maybe just chop the back of it off and exaggerate the curves. But yeah, that's it. Just gotta put a handle on it and make it nice and sharp, and we will have a functional post-apocalyptic axe made with no power tools, out of spring steel, so scrap metal from a leaf spring. Thanks. If you like this video, please share it on social media, that would help a lot, and please leave a comment letting me know what you thought. Letting me know what you think. Right, everyone, hopefully I'll see you next time. Bye. I was going to keep profiling it with a file when I got home, but no, I remembered that the Forge has got this hand-powered grinder. Woohoo! It's hand-powered, so it doesn't count as a power tool, but of course you can just keep filing if you don't want to use, or if you don't have one of these.